symbol. So you're gonna say contents and select from context, or you can simply call it params, so you actually know that this information is related to the parameter in here, or the params, right? And then now that we have the select here, it means we can pass it into this function to get that specific post that we are looking for. And of course, we need to pass in that information into this page here. We're gonna have a post, just like we did in the home page. We're gonna have props, and we're gonna have a post of data, and then the post is gonna be data. And then also, since we're using dynamic routing, we need to use another function from Next called get. So what this get static path function will basically do, it will basically generate the paths. So since here it's a dynamic one, it's gonna generate all the paths. So it's gonna be first post, blah 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 blah. All those paths will be used in this function to generate the data in here. And also this one's runs at build time. So for the user, once the user requests a certain page here, the data will already have been loaded. So we need to use the get static path here. And for us to use the pass, we need to mention that it's a block, and also the slack here. So what we're gonna do, constant data await get. I need us to actually implement this function in here. Let's say export content fetch all posts slacks, and then we already have a function here. Which fetches our our posts, right? So we're gonna simply have slacks. Okay, let me just say data and await fetch all posts. And we need to get the slacks from this post. So let me do slacks and data. Let's go into here. I hope we did not remove the console log. Okay, let me go here. No, I need to remove this part here. I need to get all the posts. I want to show you that we're going to iterate through all those stories and get their slack. So we're going to iterate through these stories and get a slack from every content, so that we can be able to fetch the content before the user even lands on our page. So we're going to use map, say post. From the post, we actually need the post.slack. But then since this is a one line, we don't actually need to have the return. And also, since we need to have something like localhost.blog and the select that comes in here, so we need to have the whole path, right? So we need to have the whole path, and then we can simply mention it in here. We're gonna simply mention it in here. Yes, we need to have this. Yeah, this is pretty much it. And return slacks. So our slack is gonna be an array which has, let me say, as 0. We can have something like block last post, whatever blog, first post, whatever the slack will be. So this is the array that we need. So this pass we actually going to use to fetch them using that function here at the get static props. So we can go back here and say fetch all post slacks, and this is pretty much it. What you need to do, instead of returning props like this one with get static props, you need to return the paths, and it's gonna be data. And then you also wanna say fallback, just in case. So if there's a slack that was not mentioned in here, if we mention the fallback to be false, so it means it's gonna go to the 404 page, which is the not found. Yes, that's pretty much it. And let's see. Oh, I'm making a mistake here. Yes, this is pretty much it. And then let's say post. And remember, in the home page, we did not actually mention that, not the home page, but then this page, we did not actually mention where these links takes us. So now we need to say it takes us to this blog plus. So we need to grab that information here, which is Slack. We need the Slack, and boom. Let me go here and see if we are getting any errors. I mean, errors are inevitable, right? So we're not getting any errors. So we can open it. We click this one. You see, so now it's taking us to blog. This is our last post. We can go back and click this one, and then it will give us a different path. This is our fifth post. So now we are able to use this to get the information about a certain post. But then there's something now here. They say we are getting a null, so it means there's a data that we are not fetching correctly. This is in the, where is it? It's in the article. I mean, in here. So the data, it means, let's see, if I'm getting the right information. So I need to open up the terminal, because my console log is in the let me say params. Oh yeah, so what I need to do is, I made a mistake. I need to extract the params from here, and yeah, we should pretty much be okay right now. So let me refresh and see if we get null again. Surely not. Yes, now we get the story, and then we can go right straight into the story. Let me close here. Let me see. I can actually go into this function here, the API, and say return story. And then in here, we can simply copy something like this. Go in here, where here on top, and title, published at So this line of code will be exactly the same as this one, so we can just simply copy it, and here is the body. We're no longer using the except, so we can say it's the content, right? We said it's a content, we didn't say it's a body. We're gonna use content and have it here. Yes, this should be, oh no, what's the problem? Let's see if we're gonna get the error again. Yes, this is pretty much it, right? So you can see we are getting this information from, so now we have a blog with technology blog post, published ad, and then we have the body, right? So we can go back and select second title of the second post, whatever this means. We click here, and then you can see it actually gives us this information all from the CMS, right? So now we need to implement the last thing, which is the search functionality. So once we search, we need to search articles using keywords, right? So we need to have a function like that. We need to have a function, and then, okay, we're not using this. We need to have a function and a page for that. So for we're gonna have the search page. So let me have a search here, and then in the search we're gonna have index. This is search. Let me say search, and go here and say we want to go to search, and then there we go. So with the search page, we basically need to have something that looks like the home page, but is actually not the home page. So let's see what we can steal from here. We can steal the container. Let's see. No, we don't need the container. We just need to have also we can steal the head. Also, we're gonna do this later. Let's have this here. Head. We need to also install say we have a form. Is it form or is it? Yes, it's a form. Why this is an error? Oh, look at this, horrible. So we have this, so we need to search this and click here. So what we're gonna do in this part here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use, instead of having to use the get static props, we're gonna use a different function called get server side props. So this function, unlike the other ones that we said it runs on build time, this actually runs on request time. So this function will actually run once the user requests this page, the search page. If you're using the get static one, you wouldn't necessarily have information from URL or whatever information the user would have passed in the URL. So for information that you're gonna need from the URL, and then you don't necessarily know what the user will pass, you'll need to use the get server side prop. So to be able to search, so we don't have a function for that actually does the search for us. So we need to go in here and implement the search posts, and we can say here we're gonna search using the keyword try catch me data await, and axios instance dot get. So to do a search, you need to do it differently, unlike with other APIs. So here you need to search it like this. So they say if you want entries by checking a custom attribute any field that has a value, right? You can look even at the example here that you need to have something like filter query, and then the name sorry, the name is actually the attribute. For us is gonna be the text, and then the like is the operation that you need to run. So the operation like means we need content that matches whatever that is passed here. So if you have John and asterisk after it, it means all entries that starting with the name John. And then if you have the asterisk on both query, so it means all entries that are containing John. So we can simply copy this, copy it until here, and then also you can see it actually goes to stories. So let's have that, and we can have, let me see, something like this, and then here goes our keyword. We're going to compare the keyword with what, with whatever that is in text, and then the operation we are running is the like one, which means it's going to compare for us. What's the problem? Return data.stories or return null. So this function will run once the user searches for something. So now that we implemented the search posts, so what we need to do is implement it. But you cannot search for a post without knowing what kind of post the user is searching for or what kind of keyword, right? So this means we need to be able to access the query that the user will search for. So we're gonna have something like this: local host, and then we're gonna go into search page, and then we're gonna use the query and say we are looking for, we're gonna say query. Okay, we're gonna search query, and our query is gonna be React. So how do we access this value from the URL parameter? So let's have the context here, and we can pretty much console context and see how it actually looks like. Let me save this and go into our and say query equals to React. I mean, of course, the server did not return an object. Oh, yeah, it needs to return something. Return an object. And of course, it won't print anything of serializing error. Props must be a plain. Oh, no. No, let me say props, because we're gonna pass in props into this home page, and we're gonna say post, let's just say an empty array for now, just to certify these, right? So obviously it doesn't print out anything because we don't search for anything. So let's open up the console log here and see how this object looks like, right? So it has a bunch of things, right? So we can be able to access query. You see query here, so it means we can say query, and then inside the query object we have a query value, so we can actually get the query from query, which is funny, right? Or actually maybe let's remove query and say it's gonna be a search. So instead of having our query here, it's gonna be search, right? I hope that makes sense. And then we have a search keyword here, and let's close this. Now that we have the search or the keyword, we can simply say go and fetch the data that we are looking for. Search post, and it takes in the keyword, which is the search. But then also, and then we take this data and we pass it here, or when it's empty, we pass in the empty object. Or of course, we need to have an async here because it's, but also we haven't implemented this function to do the search for us, right? So we need to enter something here, and when we hit the search, so it does the search for us. Where is it? It's here. What we're gonna do is I just need us to have something like value set value. We're gonna use the use date, and constant handle input get the value from the input and set value, which is gonna be value input and we're gonna have a function called on search or handle search. This function will simply go to our location. No, location. Damn it. Location, where we're gonna go into search. Our query is search, so we need to have something like search is gonna be equal to the value, and this will be called once you click on this button, and the value here is gonna be value, and on change we going to run the handle input function. Why is it complaining? It's always complaining. It's because you are not taking care of it. From React. So let's go back home. Let's search using, let's say, keyword. Oh no. So we need to actually prevent the default here. Dot prevent default and paste that line. Let's see, React. Oh yes, why it doesn't print out? It doesn't print out because we never printed out anything on once we get it. So once we get it, we pass in posts, and then so in here we can have access to posts. What we can simply do, I love us to copy the code from here. Actually, let me just copy this part here and see how it's gonna look like, and paste it here. And of course we need to import the article. Yes, let's see, React Why is what's going on? Search post. So, or I can actually have a question mark here to ensure that everything that comes in here is a parameter. Music. Let me see. Now I'm getting an error. What is it saying? It says post. No ways. Post is not. Let me see. Seems like there's something that we messed up here. Oh, damn it. So that stories. And also, damn it, we need to ensure that we have the asterisk signs here that we say this. This function is giving us like a headache. Let's run it again and see what's. So it works. React. These are the articles that match React, and I think I had something like Angular. So this is the only post that has Angular as its tag, and then I think I had TED or technology. Great. Yeah, I think this is pretty much the end of the video. So if you stick around till this point, thank you so much. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Go back to the home page. You can say first post from YouTube. Takes time to load, and then this is the content. You're gonna go back home and you search using the keywords, and I don't know what. I think I had something like blog. Let me see if we search for blog. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. So please guys, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share,